Most people believe they would leave something that hurts them. If a place, a rule, or a situation causes pain, the idea seems simple. You step away, you protect yourself, you choose something better. That is what people say they would do, but real life feels different. In real life, many people stay, not because they enjoy the pain, not because they do not see it. They stay because leaving feels heavier than staying. Think about a job that slowly drains you. You feel tired in a way sleep does not fix. You feel smaller than you used to. You complain about it sometimes, you joke about it. You know it is not good for you. But when someone asks why you stay, you already have an answer ready. It pays the bills. It is stable. It could be worse. These answers come fast. You do not even think about them. This happens in families too. A pattern hurts people again and again, a way of talking, a way of treating feelings. Everyone knows it, everyone feels it, but when someone points it out, the room goes quiet. Someone explains why it is normal. Someone says that is just how things are. Someone says it has always been this way. And somehow, that explanation feels safer than change. You might feel angry at the system you are in, but you still defend it when others criticize it. You might feel tired of the rules, but you still explain why they exist. You might feel hurt by the way things work, but you still protect the structure that causes it. This is confusing when you first notice it. Why would someone protect something that hurts them? Why explain something that makes life harder? Why argue for something that costs you peace? But from the inside, it does not feel strange at all. Defending the system feels like defending yourself. It keeps your world from falling apart. It keeps your past from feeling wasted. It keeps your choices from feeling wrong. Leaving would mean admitting that you stayed too long, that you accepted things you should not have, that you were hurt by something you trusted. That is a hard thing to face. So people do something else instead. They explain, they justify, they stay loyal. Not loudly, not proudly, just enough to keep things steady. The pain becomes familiar. Familiar pain feels safer than unknown change. And most people recognize this in themselves. They just do not like to say it out loud. When people defend something that hurts them, it does not start with loyalty. It starts with a feeling they do not want to stay with. A small discomfort appears, something feels off, something feels unfair. And before that feeling can grow, it is pushed away. That feeling is hard to face because it points inward. It asks uncomfortable questions. It suggests that staying might not be strength. It suggests that endurance might not be choice. That idea can hurt more than the situation itself. Jung talked about the parts of ourselves we hide because they do not fit the person we want to be. Admitting that a system hurts you can feel like admitting weakness. It can feel like admitting you stayed somewhere that did not respect you. It can feel like admitting you were wrong. So the mind steps in to protect you. It does not do this loudly, it does it gently. It softens the truth. It reframes the pain. It tells you that what you feel is normal, that everyone deals with this, that you are making too much of it. These thoughts feel calming. They help you stay steady. When someone else points out the harm, you often feel uneasy before you feel angry. Your body reacts. You want the topic to change. You want the moment to pass. You want things to feel normal again. So you explain. You talk about how things work. You talk about why change is hard. You talk about how nothing is perfect. The explanation is not for them, it is for you. Jung would say the feeling does not disappear. It moves out of sight. It goes into the shadow. It stays there, influencing how you react, how you speak, and what you defend. That hidden feeling can show up as tiredness, as irritation, as tension that never fully goes away. You may not connect it to where you are. You may not name it at all. You just know you feel off. Defending what hurts you becomes a way to avoid that feeling. It keeps you from looking directly at the pain. It keeps you from asking whether staying is costing you more than leaving would. So the mind stays busy explaining. It talks about rules instead of emotions. It talks about structure instead of experience. It talks about how things are instead of how they feel. Over time, this becomes normal. You no longer notice the pain clearly. You only notice the urge to defend. And because the pain is hidden, it can no longer guide you toward change. After the pain is pushed away, something else takes its place. A story. Not a loud one, not a dramatic one. A quiet story that helps things make sense. This story explains why staying is the right thing to do. It helps you feel settled instead of trapped. Nietzsche was interested in these stories, not because they are clever, but because they are useful. People use them to live with things they cannot change or do not want to face. When something hurts and you stay, the mind looks for meaning fast. Pain without meaning feels pointless. Pain with meaning feels easier to carry. So the story begins. You tell yourself that this is how life works. You tell yourself that every place has problems. You tell yourself that expecting better is naive. These thoughts feel realistic. They sound grown up. They calm the part of you that feels restless. The story slowly changes how the pain feels. It is no longer just pain. It becomes a test, or a lesson, or proof that you are strong enough to endure. The hurt starts to feel necessary, even useful. Nietzsche noticed how often suffering is turned into virtue. Endurance becomes something to be proud of. Staying becomes a sign of strength. Leaving starts to look like weakness. This makes the story powerful. If staying means you are strong, then leaving would mean the opposite. It would mean you could not handle it. It would mean the pain mattered too much. That is a hard thought to accept. So the story protects you. It protects the years you already spent. It protects the effort you already gave. It protects the belief that you made the right choices. Without the story, you might have to face regret, or anger, or sadness. The story keeps those feelings away. Over time, the story becomes automatic. You do not sit down and decide to believe it. It simply shows up whenever the system is questioned. Someone complains, and the explanation comes out of your mouth before you think about it. You might even hear yourself saying things you once disagreed with. The story also changes how you see others. People who leave are called impatient. People who question are called unrealistic. People who struggle are told to toughen up. This makes staying feel normal and leaving feel wrong. Nietzsche would ask what this story produces. It produces loyalty. It produces obedience. It produces people who defend what hurts them because the pain now has a purpose. The story does not remove the hurt. It only wraps it in meaning. And once pain has meaning, it becomes much harder to walk away from it. That is why people often fight harder to defend something the longer they have suffered inside it. The story has grown too big to let go. At some point, defending something that hurts you stops being about feelings and starts being about results. Not what you meant to do, not what you hoped would happen, just what actually happens because you stay. This is where Machiavelli fits. He did not focus on good intentions. He watched outcomes. When people stay loyal to what hurts them, life around them adjusts. The situation does not change. The rules remain. The same behavior repeats. Nothing is forced, nothing explodes, things simply continue. From the outside, this can look calm, stable, functional. That calm is important. It tells everyone involved that things are acceptable, that nothing urgent is happening, that no response is needed. When a person explains pain instead of leaving, something is learned. Others learn that this level of harm is tolerable. They learn that complaints will be softened. They learn that loyalty will come before resistance. This does not happen because people are cruel. It happens because patterns respond to behavior, not feelings. What you accept quietly becomes part of how things work. Machiavelli would notice that power does not need to be harsh when it is defended by those who suffer under it. It does not need to argue. It does not need to threaten. It simply stays in place. Over time, roles become fixed. Some people adjust, some people benefit, some people endure. Those who endure are often praised for it. They are called reliable, strong, realistic. This praise matters. It rewards staying. It makes leaving feel risky. It teaches people that adapting is safer than questioning. The longer someone stays, the harder it becomes to imagine change. Not because change is impossible, but because too much has already been built around staying. Relationships, identity, reputation, self-image. Leaving would not just mean walking away. It would mean rewriting the past. It would mean admitting that something harmful was defended for a long time. That is heavy. So most people do not leave. They adjust, they explain, they make peace with what hurts them. And in doing so, they help keep it alive. Machiavelli would not judge this. He would simply point out what it creates. Systems that are defended by those inside them become very hard to change, not because they are right, but because they are protected from disruption. Nothing dramatic has to happen for harm to continue. It only needs to be tolerated, explained, absorbed. This is why harmful situations often last much longer than they should, not because no one sees the problem, but because enough people have learned that staying feels safer than leaving. Most of the time, we already know this. We just don't like hearing it said.